Several areas in Texas, May 4, 2024.
Oh my God! Big hail! Big hail!
Oh yeah!
Big hail!
That's window breaking.
You see it? Can you see it? Oh, it's coming back down. It's coming back down. Oh, shit. Sure is. Wow, it's really Look at that. Yeah. Wow.
The Houston area was under threat of worsening flood conditions on Saturday, a day after heavy storms slammed the region, and authorities warned those in low-lying areas to evacuate before an expected surge of water the likes of which haven't been seen. A flood watch remained in effect through Sunday afternoon as forecasters predicted additional rainfall on Saturday night, bringing another 1 to 3 inches, 2.5 to 7.6 centimeters, of water to the soaked region and the likelihood of major flooding. Friday's storms forced numerous high water rescues, including some from the rooftops of flooded homes. Officials redoubled urgent instructions for residents in low-lying areas to evacuate, warning that the worst was still to come. Crews have now rescued more than 400 people from their homes, rooftops and roads, and others are preparing to evacuate their property. This threat is ongoing and it's going to get worse. It is not your typical river flood, said Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo, the top elected official in the nation's third-largest county. She described the predicted surge of water as catastrophic and said several hundred structures were at risk of flooding. There had already been at least 24 water rescues in the county, in addition to 30 pets moved to safety. Schools in the path of the flooding canceled classes and roads jammed as authorities closed highways taking on water. For weeks, drenching rains in Texas and parts of Louisiana have filled reservoirs and saturated the ground. Floodwaters partly submerged cars and roads this week across parts of southeastern Texas, north of Houston, where high waters reached the roofs of some homes. More than 11 inches, 28 centimeters, of rain fell during a 24-hour period that ended on Friday morning in the northern Houston suburb of Spring, according to the National Weather Service. For more than a week, relentless severe weather has been pummeling states in the middle of America. That trend continued on Thursday, with nearly 100 reports of severe weather, most of which this time were focused in Texas. The worst of the storms were tornadoes that left damage in rural towns such as Hawley and Hamlin in the west-central part of the state. Several tornadoes touched down Thursday in Jones County near Abilene, part of an area known as the Big Country. We've had multiple confirmed tornadoes this evening, the National Weather Service office in San Angelo said on X Thursday evening. Please stay weather aware and make sure you have a way to receive warnings. Residents in the town of Hawley posted pictures and videos on social media. Here's a look at the Texas-sized twister. Of particular concern was an area along the San Jacinto River in the northeastern part of Harris County, which was expected to continue rising as more rain falls and officials release extra water from an already full reservoir. Hidalgo on Thursday issued a mandatory evacuation order for those living along portions of the river. Shelters have opened across the region, including 9 from the American Red Cross. The greater Houston area covers about 10,000 square miles, 26,000 square kilometers, a footprint slightly bigger than New Jersey. It is crisscrossed by about 1,700 miles, 2,736 kilometers, of channels, creeks, and bayous that drain into the Gulf of Mexico, about 50 miles, 80 kilometers, to the southeast from downtown. The city's system of bayous and reservoirs was built to drain heavy rains. But engineering initially designed nearly 100 years ago has struggled to keep up with the city's growth and bigger storms. In Harris County, which includes the city of Houston and several northern suburbs, mandatory evacuations have been in place since Thursday for residents on the east side of the East Fork of the San Jacinto River. The river hit major flood stage on Thursday and is forecast to crest Saturday morning just a few feet shy of the record level during Harvey. The level of water rise anticipated will impact elevated structures and may rise to reach rooftops or power lines, according to Hidalgo. A flood watch was in effect through Sunday afternoon, as forecasters predicted additional rainfall Saturday night and the likelihood of major flooding. About 11 million people in Texas and Oklahoma are under flood warnings and watches this weekend. Brown, who had driven from his home in a golf cart, said the flooding wasn't as bad as Hurricane Harvey in 2017. He pointed to nearby power lines and said that flooding during Harvey had reached the top of the lines. Most weekends, Miguel Flores Sr. is mowing his huge backyard on a 2.5-acre lot behind his home in Kingwood. But on Saturday, he and his family were loading several vehicles with clothes, small appliances and other items before floodwaters inundated his home. Waters from the nearby San Jacinto River had swallowed his backyard and continued to rise on Saturday. Flores said the water in his backyard was only about 1 foot high on Friday. On Saturday, the water level now measured about 4 feet. "It's sad, but what can I do?" Flores said. He added that he has flood insurance. In the rural community of Shepherd, Gilroy Fernandez said he and his spouse had about an hour to evacuate after a mandatory order. Their home is on stilts near the Trinity River, and they felt relief when the water began to recede on Thursday. Next thing you know, overnight they started releasing more water from the dam at Livingston. And so that caused the level of the river to shoot up by almost 5 or 6 feet overnight, Fernandez said. Neighbors who left an hour later got stuck in traffic because of flooding. In Montgomery County, Judge Mark Keogh said there had been more high water rescues than he was able to count. Most of Houston's city limits were not heavily impacted by the weather, except for the northeastern neighborhood of Kingwood.
Oh my gosh.
Officials said the area had about 4 months of rain in about a week's time. Houston Mayor John Whitmire said rising floodwaters from the San Jacinto River were expected to impact Kingwood late Friday and Saturday. Shelters have opened across the region, including 9 by the American Red Cross. The greater Houston area covers about 10,000 square miles, a footprint slightly bigger than New Jersey. It is crisscrossed by about 1,700 miles of channels, creeks, and bayous that drain into the Gulf of Mexico, about 50 miles to the southeast from downtown. The city's system of bayous and reservoirs was built to drain heavy rains.
That's huge.